All right. Thanks. Hey, Caleb, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Revenge tour it is. Seems like that's
Sure.
one of the hottest things out right now.
Yeah, after dropping the brand, basically right before the Darrell fight, or right after the Darrell fight, people have really taken to it and shown it a lot of support. And I think the biggest difference in Revenge Tour and maybe some of the merch that other fighters sell is, it's its own brand. It's a lifestyle brand. It's not just, Caleb Plant merch. It's something you can wear to dinner, wear to the club. You can be fly wherever. So,
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you about that later on, but I saw the shirt and I was gonna ask you now. Did it catch you by surprise that the demand for the merch is so high? And what does the revenge tour for you mean in 2024?
I mean, maybe a little bit by surprise how quick it's taken off, and how much support it's gotten, and how fast it sells out every time we drop. And I think people gravitate towards it because I feel like they know that it's a genuine life that I've lived. I'm not just saying it, I'm not just talking about it, but I've literally lived the life of getting my revenge on life. And, it sounds negative when you first think of revenge, but we all come, or a lot of us come from a place where we didn't have very much growing up. And, we wanted more for ourselves. We wanted to go out into the world and try and, you know, get revenge on the fact that we didn't have much, or all the times we've been told no, all the times we've said, been told we weren't good enough or couldn't accomplish something. And then on top of that, just all of the trials that life throws at you. If you know my story, obviously, things I've been through, and we've all been through things. And for life to hand us that, but, for us to keep our nose down and just keep grinding, keep putting one foot in front of the other until one day you look up and, you live in a nice house, or you're accomplishing the things you want to accomplish and getting where you're trying to get headed. That's what revenge is about. So,
That's right. And you know what? That's a perfect segue into actually my first question, where I was talking about before the Uzcategui fight in 2019, you had 17 fights. Some of them were on Fox Sports 1. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna be here in front of you and lie to you and tell you that I wasn't a little critical about some of those performances, because it felt like you could have been better, and whether it was the opposition or whatever the case may be, it just didn't happen. But once you won the world title, it felt like things just took off for you, both in and out of the ring. I think the same day you got engaged, I believe it was, because I was there
yeah.
at the Sony theater. Did you feel the same way, that things took a turn for the better once the title came into play, and that fight specifically? Because it seemed like it almost like you was carrying something, and then once you won the title, it was like it all came off.
Yeah, I mean, even, 2017, I won Prospect of the Year, so I was still, doing good and undefeated, had, quite a few knockouts. But after winning the world title, uh, I wanted to do that for Aaliyah. That was a promise I made to her. I feel like maybe like a weight was lifted off my shoulders because that just really meant so much to me. And while it was giving me fuel, maybe at the same time it was putting pressure on me too. And so, I've heard from other coaches, after you win a world title, a fighter's confidence goes up. And, I definitely felt that. And, just going on a roll since then. Obviously, I lost it to Canelo. And that's when I really thought, like, man, I need to get on my revenge tour and, go from place to place, stop to stop until, maybe one day me and Canelo can run it back. I can right that wrong. Obviously, I'm not focused on that right now because I got a big fight in front of me. But yeah, I feel like it kind of lifted a weight off my shoulders, being able to fulfill that promise and, you know, move on.
Yeah, and now the last 2 years, you've been a one fight a year fighter. This last one's coming off of 18 months, if I'm not mistaken, by the time you step in the ring. Was it due to like inactivity because of personal stuff that you had going on, or fights that just didn't materialize, or a little bit of both?
Well, I think it just took a little bit of time with PBC locking in the new deal that they have, and so I'm not the only fighter who's had to deal with that and do that. So I really just was focused on the things I can control. You know, there's no sense in focusing on things that we have no control over. So, you know, focusing on things like what's my attitude every day, how, you know, me going to the gym and getting better, me making sure I'm keeping my weight in check, going to physical therapy every week, working with my massage therapist every week. Uh, you know, the list goes on and on. It just focusing on the things I can control and knowing eventually my time will come. And when it does, I need to make sure I'm in the right spot and that I'm prepared. So,
That's right. And then since the Canelo fight, more fans, there's been an abundance of fans that are now interested even more in seeing you fight. Now, with the recent issues of fighters trying to provoke you in public and you trying to be in the public so that people can see you and talk to you and engage with you, like how hard is it for you to try to balance that now? Because, you know, you're trying to raise your profile, but then at the same time, you got some idiots that try to provoke you in a way.
yeah, I mean, it's not even so much like I'm trying to be in the public eye and be around the fans. It's like, you know, I'm a boxing fan, so I'm a fan of quite a few of these top fighters, and so you know, I live the same day over and over and over, like 90% of the year, which is like going to the gym, coming home, spending time with my family. So every once in a while, you know, me and my wife, we like to pop out and go to some of the bigger fights and you know, just enjoy ourselves. And then obviously you've already spoken on certain people, certain fighters want to, I'm not sure what it is really. Maybe they want to fight with me, so they're trying to piss me off, and maybe it'll provoke me into wanting to fight them. But you know, I've said before in other interviews, that's not the way to get a fight. If you want to fight, fight me. You know, go get your buzz up, go raise your value, get a couple fights, get put in the rankings, and you know, you can ask any boxing fan in the world. I'm not hard to make a fight with. But you know, it doesn't bother me. I'm gonna keep popping out and with my wife going to these fights, and you know, I can't control how other people act. I can just control how I act, and that's all I got to say about that, really.
Yeah. And then so you're fighting Trevor McCumby, undefeated. He wants to be taken seriously, hasn't really fought anybody on your level. Is it hard for you to get up for a fighter like that since his resume isn't as good as yours?
No, 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 because that would be me focusing on him and what he has going on, and you know, I'm focused on me and what I have going on, and you know, this is a big fight. WBA interim title is on the line. He's undefeated. A fighter who's undefeated wants to stay that way. Like you said, he wants to be taken seriously, and this is his big moment. And I remember what it felt like for me in my first big moment against Jose Uskotsky, and the amount of motivation I had, the pressure and the weight on my shoulders of wanting to perform well and prove myself. So I'd be a fool to make a mistake by underestimating him and focusing on who I want to fight next and what I want to do next. You know, a million fighters have done that, and you know, I say this all the time, but it's it's happened a million times in boxing. You know, I don't want to be a million and one. So I'm focused on him. I'm taking him serious.
All right. And then at the end of the night, what do you want fans to leave with in regard to your performance on September 14th?
Just and the new WBA interim champion, and looking to put on you know, handle business in fashion. Whether that's just a vicious ass whooping over 12 rounds, or whether that's, you know, a knockout or a stoppage. Either way, I just want people, you know, I don't want, but people will be walking away saying that's a bad boy right there.
All right. Listen, Caleb, I appreciate your time and I wish you the best of luck on September 14th.
Oh man, thank you.
Okay.